Hello, and welcome to Plugging Along, a stream dedicated to Lotro plugins. Oh my goodness. I didn't resize my camera properly. My goodness. Let me fix that. I was just trying to zoom out a little bit, and I did that on the wrong scene. There we go. Much better. Okay. Well, welcome to an early edition, Plugging Along. As you may or may not know, tonight is the first night of Eurovision Song Contest 2022, and we're intending to watch that later. So, we're going to get started with an early Plugging Along. Last time on Plugging Along, we looked at buff bars and how the new 14-day duration for the subscriber bumps meant the time in seconds, minutes, and hours could get too long for the existing field. So we looked at two possible solutions, making the field wider for all buffs, or just shortening the text of anything that gets that long, and then released a patch with that second option. Today, I want to take advantage of the last few days of the anniversary festival and add some functionality to the Festival Buddy plugin to make the Fireworks of Bree quest easier. So, as always, feel free to jump into chat with your thoughts and questions. And Dan says, our music synced up at the start of the stream. Holland Gate. Yes, I do like that music. I'll probably do a new intro video with new music in the near future now that we have the 15th anniversary release of a whole bunch of additional music. I might switch to one of those tracks, but have not gotten around to it. Dan, how dare they make the buff last longer? I know, it's like they didn't even think of plugin authors. That's okay. We can do patches. It's all good. Okay, so what do we have here? So first of all, I am in Bree, looking down over the fireworks area. If you haven't done the anniversary festival yet, this area is divided into two parts, day and night. During the day, two mischievous hobbits, a young took and a young brandybuck, will send you around the Bree town area to let people know of the fireworks show in the evening. And then in the evening, you can participate with the fireworks show. Tan's been listening to the 15th anniversary music. It's great. Yes, I've actually been focusing on listening to Eurovision music ahead of Eurovision, so I'll be prepared. So after this week, I'll be able to switch over to Lord of the Rings music. Probably listen to that on my bicycling to and from school instead. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so let me switch on over. There we go. Okay. Awesome. Let me check a thing. Did I resize everything? Okay. Yes. While I was resizing things, I didn't quite resize everything. There we go. Cool. So what's going on here? So first of all, if you haven't seen it, I took a screenshot because I wasn't sure if it was going to be day or night when we got around to the stream. But when you're doing the fireworks in Bree event, you get what's called an event Quickslot. It looks like this. And it just has the various fireworks. Now, in theory, if your eyes are working correctly, you can tell that that is red, green, blue, and yellow. But on my best day, when it is this size, against a cluttered background of colors, I don't always instinctively know what's going on here, especially because it's not in RGB order, which is what I'm looking for, or more correctly, RGB. And so I just have to kind of remember and hover over and look at the tooltips and that, especially with the green and the orange. The red I'm pretty good at, right? That one's fine. And so something I wanted to do was to make a plugin that would look in chat for the commands, like launch a red one, launch anything but blue, whatever, and then just give you a really obvious visual clue. Like if they said anything but green, I really would just like to have a plugin come along and be like, yeah, this is what you can do, right? Do those, or if they say, just do a red one, then it would just look like this. And the other thing I want is that there are 20 seconds between one announcer call and the next. So with a 2-second induction for a firework, that gives you an 18-second span in which you can launch fireworks. But if you launch fireworks too close to the next one, and it turns out to have been the wrong one for the next call, you'll fail the quest, you have to start over. And so what I would like is a timer that tells me how much of that 18 seconds of pre-starting time I have left, because it is possible to launch 2 of the qualifying fireworks in a row and get credit for 2 of them on the quest. But that probably means you only get 1 in on the next time because of how long of a cooldown there is on the firework. So you can do about 3 for every 2, basically, if you pay attention to how much time you have. So those are my 2 goals: is have really obvious, this is valid right here, which is going to be a help for me because I'm lazy, but also might be a help for anyone who, has red-green colorblind issues more severe than my genetics suggest I probably do. And so that's partially an accessibility thing, partially a laziness thing. I just want to be able to sit, do the quest, and just click the thing that the plugin tells me to click, and we'll be good, right? And to pay, not have to count out 20 seconds myself, let the plugin do it for me. So those are some goals I have. Don't know how far we're going to get today. If I recall correctly, we have until tonight. So, but the good news is I'm going to plan from the start to build in a debugging capability. So if I don't get it done tonight, that is okay. Okay, so that's sort of the rough sketch of what those look like. It's terrible. But the other thing I did, knowing that this was going to be a thing, is I took advantage of Lord of the Rings' built-in chat capturing capability. So if you have never seen this before, in a chat tab, you can right-click, go to chat logging, and say either capture chat, which captures everything that is visible in that chat window. If you've let it go for a long time, some stuff will have scrolled off. That's not going to get captured either. And you can capture chat. That is, each new line that gets added to this chat tab will also get written to a text file sitting in your documents folder. So for me, it's documents, Lord of the Rings Online, and then it's just a text file in there. And I went ahead and did that with just the say channel. Looks like it turned off. Oh, there we go. And the fireworks and other people went straight into that chat channel. I just let it run for an hour while I was doing homework the other night. And that means I can come into Documents, Lord of the Rings Online, and here we have Fireworks Announcer. Very straightforward. And it's not strictly speaking Fireworks Announcer. It's anything in say. But what you can do is you can open that up in a text file, and you can just say, okay, any line that contains Fireworks Announcer, let's go ahead and, I don't need the time. Let's go ahead and copy all of the contents of that into a new file. Now, there's 111 entries here. What you can also do, you can have your text editor go ahead and sort them, and then go ahead and only use unique entries. So if there's any duplicates, we don't care. And that left us with 39 independent entries. Whoops. Oh, I apologize. Sublime Text has a funny thing where if the lines are so long that they wrap, the multi-select behaves in a weird manner. So let's account for that specific issue. Go ahead and recopy those over, resort, and re-permute uniquely. There we go. That does give us 39 entries, which is interesting because we are expecting multiples of 4. Each of these variations should come with a specific color. There's 4 colors. And what we find out is that, I just didn't sit around long enough to get every single possibility. So we have, how about a bright blue, green, red, yellow? Cool. How about something besides blue, green, red, yellow? Awesome. Let's dazzle a crowd with a firework that is blue, green, red, yellow, that isn't blue, green, red, yellow. Quickly launch a blue firework high into the sky. Now this is a sorting issue, just alphabetically, launch a firework that's not blue, green, yellow high into the sky. Those just sorted together. And then you have, quickly launch a green, red, yellow firework into the sky. And we can see here's the missing one. Somehow I was sitting around for an hour or so and I just never saw quickly launch a firework that's not red high into the sky. Okay, I can extrapolate that there probably is such an entry though. Send up a blue, green, red, yellow firework. This is the perfect time for one. Send up anything except a blue, green, red, yellow firework. This will be unexpected. This is not the time for blue, green, red, And, oh, we can see yellow sorted down below. And this is not the time for resting. Launch. Here, blue, green, red, yellow. So those are all the variations. And we could extract those out to a specific variation with just a single color different. This is not the time for X fireworks. So each one of these has the form of either do only this color or do anything but this color. Launch your blue firework, launch anything but blue. And that's the case for each of these formats. We have, let's see, how about one, let's dazzle, 2, quickly, 3, send up 4, and this is 5. So there's 5 variations, and each of those 5 has a positive and a negative, an exclusive or an inversion. So really 10 basic phrases that we're looking for. And based on which of those 5 and which of those positive or negative, we can extract a color and know is it all of everything but this color or this color, and that can inform our UI. Cool. So another thing I did in preparation was go ahead and get a screenshot, as I showed before, a screenshot of this bar. Now you can edit this in a program of your choice. I use the GNU image manipulation program, abbreviated GIMP, or possibly GIMP, depends on how you like to pronounce your G's. And what I did was I came in and went ahead and extracted out each of these skill icons that are fireworks as their own layer. So I can go ahead and turn them off and have this be a UI for a plugin or a window that I can draw as a plugin. It doesn't have to be sensitive to mouse buttons, but the point being that you can, as a player, position this over your actual event toolbar, and then this will help guide our arrows pointing at each one of the bays. Now, what I didn't do was create an arrow to use. That felt like we could swap in just about anything once we get the rest of this done. But let's go ahead and think about that. We know these are 32 by 32 squares. I know this, but I can also just come in, do a rectangular select, and say, hey, how big is this spot? And we can see at the bottom there, 32 by 32. Great. 32 by 32 is kind of a default size for images in Lord of the Rings Online. This is actually one of the problems when it comes to scaling up the image for higher resolution monitors. 32 by 32 was a lot of pixels back in the olden days 15 years ago, but it means that there's not necessarily a higher resolution version of every single icon in the game for them to go and render at gorgeous 4K resolutions, which would probably be like 100 or 200 pixels wide, right? It means having someone go back and redo the art for every single button in the game so that it does not look really fuzzy or grainy when you expand it up to a bigger size. And that's a non-trivial amount of effort to pile onto everything else they want to do in the game. And I should say, of course, I am not an SSG employee. These are facts that we have gleaned from listening to community managers and other developers talk about the challenges of taking a game whose code originates far beyond 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, and modernizing it so that it looks really pretty on what modern day monitors have to offer. So we can go ahead and take a look at a 32 by 32. What would an arrow look like? Or do we want an arrow? Maybe just a border highlighting. Well, that's an interesting idea. Oh, Fairland says you're late. You are not particularly late. I am just 2 hours early. So hello. I was just talking about taking, I was tempted by the arrow thing, but I think it might be a little bit subtler to just maybe do a highlighted border around each of them. I like the idea of that. So I'm going to hold off on worrying about an arrow animation. I think I like the idea of instead doing something like this. And in this case, it would look something like this. That'll let us restrict the amount of screen real estate we're using. Doesn't matter where you put your toolbar. Our toolbar will fit right on top of it, and we'll just highlight the buttons that are good. Probably in a more friendly color for yes, you should click this. Maybe something like that. Berthan says, you have to go early too. No worries. The reason I'm doing this is because we have the first Eurovision Song Contest 2022 competition coming up tonight, and I don't want to be too distracted or have that coming in over the Twitch stream. I fear the copyright bots might get a little excited about that. Okay, so this is kind of the goal. This is my new goal. I liked the idea of the arrows, but I think I like the idea of this highlighting even more. Maybe not with quite so thick borders. We'll sort that out. Now, I say we'll sort that out. Let me take a look at this. Might be nice to have this all prepped. So this is a 5-pixel wide border. Could go ahead and just make something. Here, let me undo those. Let's go ahead and undo all of this. Okay. We're going to go ahead and pull in from downloads that PNG. Yeah, don't save that. That's terrible. And let's do a quick little shape square and knock down the size of that a little bit. That's going to want to be green. 3 seems plausible. Yeah. And what happens if it's 2 of them? Now it could even be on top of that. Okay. So something like that. I think I like that width a little bit better than the 5-pixel. So we're looking for a 3-pixel, and that's just a question of, is it exactly on top of the skill, or is it a little bit bigger? Either way, let's go ahead and reopen a new image manipulation program, or GIMP, and come on in here. We're going to make a 32 by 32 to start with. This one's going to be very simple. We're going to say, why don't I have a transparent background? Transparent. We'll just call it background. I struggle to make this program do what I want it to do sometimes. And one of those things I struggle with is transparency. Sometimes it just doesn't seem to be there. So we're going to go ahead and say there's a border on top of this. And for that, we're going to go ahead and do a quick little selection. One thing you can do is do an inversion of a selection. So we're just going to select invert. And we're going to go ahead and fill with a green color. Now we already have a green color here. I don't remember what was that was for, but it's fine. Let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to go ahead and save as. And this is just going to go into my downloads folder for right now. But we'll move it somewhere more useful eventually. Okay, and so this is a firework skill border, 32 by 32. Awesome. We're going to save that. And we're going to save it. What? Apologies, I seem to have invoked a search. Let's save as. And put that into downloads. Great. Okay, so that is a simple border with a transparent middle that we can slap onto a 32 by 32 surface, and then we don't have to worry about it extruding. However, there is a border here between each of the skills. It's not very big, it's 2, but that means we could center the border onto the skill and push out into that border space. And I like the idea of that. So we're going to make a new one, and we're going to push out one in each direction, so it's going to be 34 by 34. And for this one, same thing. Let's get some transparency in here. And new layer, background. Great. Delete that old background. And for this border, same deal, but instead, we're going to go ahead and select 1, 2, 3, 3 down, oops, 3 down from both the upper left and the bottom right. So 1, 2, 3. That's not enough. Or is it? 1, 2. No, I'm not convinced myself. Wait a second. Image. Canvas size. 34 by 34. Okay, that's weird. One, two, three. Oh, no, of course. I only wanted to stick out one. Forgot what I was trying to do here. Great. So, get down to 32 by 32. Awesome. That can't be right. What have I done to myself? One more in each direction. Let's take a look at that. We'll go ahead and invert that selection and convince ourselves that is not as big as I wanted it to be. If it's 34, it's one in each direction. Okay. My mental math is just not working today. That's okay. If you don't get it right on the first go, you just keep on going. So now we have a 28 by 28 that allows 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Sure, let's do that. So select, invert, and we're going to go ahead and get that. So this is going to be we're going to save that. Same basic deal. It's a fireworks scale border, but it starts with a 34 by 34. Now I should ask myself, did I actually make a 3 wide border here, or did I mess that up somehow? So let's go ahead and just paint 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's fine. It was just this new one. I don't know. I feel like there's a way to get that transparent background to be like a single cell is 1 pixel. But I'm in a hurry. I'm not going to worry about that. This looks great. Okay, cool. So we have 2 options. One option that sits within the skill itself, and one option just a little bit bigger. Fredlin says, this is one of the most interesting new functions you add to the plugin. I'm thrilled to test it out. Me too, for the 2 hours that we'll have tonight. While Eurovision is playing on the TV right there. Okay, so the other thing we'll need is we need these to be in TGA format. So TGA format is the format you need images to be in to load them into Lord of the Rings Online. I'm sure it was all the rage 20 years ago. I have no idea. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go choose the TGA, and it's going to ask you if you're using this program. It's going to say, right, RLE compression, origin, bottom left, those seem fine. I've never had an image exported this way be a problem. So export TGA and just leave it defaulted. Do asks, how does a plugin work with the source code of Lotro? Do you need a certain exe program that lets everything work with it? Great question. We're actually doing something for images right now so that we're ready to write code. But code comes up in just a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and close this stuff down now that we have a border to slap on top. We can go ahead and say open as layers. We can go ahead and pull in that 34 by border, and we can see it in action. So we can see it would look like this. And we can also open as layers the 32 border, and we can see it would look like that. So that's what it would look like in each of those cases. I'm finding myself definitely leaning towards the 34 border, but we have options. Cool, okay. That is the 32, and that is the 34. Okay, we'll save that for later. Okay, so let me close out of a few windows here that have they just multiply here. So excellent question about code. So the code for a plugin is going to be a scripting language called Lua. Lua is a pretty well-known scripting language. You can find a lot of resources out there on how to use it. But just as an example, if we come into Documents, Lord of the Rings Online, Plugins, that is where plugins will get stored and loaded from. Now I have a couple already downloaded. For instance, the Rich plugin, I can go ahead and come on in and I can open up a file. This is a script file. You can read the source code of any plugin that you put on to your system, and we can see it just is very, at least technically human readable, if not easily comprehensible. Now, I want to modify an existing plugin that I think is a fascinating plugin. It hasn't had a lot of love over recent years. So let's go ahead and pull up the Lotro interface website. So Lotro interface, whoops, wrong part of it, is the place that I know of for Lotro plugins. So if we come on in here and look for Festival Buddy by Galahad, who has made some awesome stuff. You can always look at someone's plugins. If you go to this list interfaces, you can load that up, and we can see a couple of helper things here. The Rich plug is a fantastic resource for the Treasure Festival. Sometimes I wonder why it's not part of Festival Buddy. We have Festival Buddy itself, pets, I've heard good things of, and anything else. Well, I don't know what the store assistant is. That sounds interesting. Oh, fun. Okay. Anyway, Festival Buddy is what we're looking at today. So you can either install this manually, or you can use my personal preference, which is the Lotro Plugin Compendium. If you use that, you just launch it, give it a moment to load on up. And in here, we can go ahead and add new plugins. In this case, it's called Festival Buddy. We check which ones we want to add. We click Add, and the Lotro Plugin Compendium takes care of downloading and extracting all of the necessary files, including any prerequisites like the Turbine class files. And that can catch a lot of people up. They'll download a plugin, but not a prerequisite, and then it just doesn't work. And the error messages can be a little confusing. Cool. So we have downloaded that. How can we tell? If we come into our caret menu system plugin manager, remember that if Lord of the Rings Online is already running, you do need to hit this green circle, the refresh button in your plugin manager for any changes to show up. And we can see Festival Buddy 145 is here. And we can see that it was updated in 2014, which was a few years ago. So let's go ahead and load this. Awesome. And Festival Buddy, from what I have seen, and I haven't played around with this a lot, it has a drop down up at the top where you can select the current festival. Let's go to Anniversary. It has a really cool, actually, I didn't notice this before, but look at the background of this thing. There's a customized background for each one of these, and I love that it's got the shrew background for spring. And then, of course, for summer, we've got just a very nice shot of the water. Oh, that is a thing that I just noticed earlier, and today's the first time I've cracked open this plugin in a while, is it has a list at the top of the tokens associated with that festival. So at the Spring Festival, one of the things you can do is gather flowers that you can trade for, among other things, I think the Jester's Mount, I want to say. Let me pop back in here. I'm not specifically a festival stream in general, but today... So Steed of the Jester, I believe you trade in 100 of each of those flowers and you get that from the Spring Festival. I'm getting nods from someone who knows more than I do about it. From the Summer Festival, you can trade in these special fish that you catch from around Eriador, I'm going to say, around Middle Earth. Harvest Math, let's take a look. The background appears to be the shrooms, maybe? I'm not sure. And we keep going. Yule Festival, nice, snow, I like it. Anniversary, fireworks, of course, and the Farmer's Fair. We do have a little bit of Farmer's Fair stuff, Farmer's Fair tokens. Looks like we've got a little bit of an alert, a little bit of an update there. Okay, so in the anniversary, we specifically care about steel tokens, anniversary tokens, and of course, Mythril coins are always useful. These are just left over from the recent freebie giveaway that SSG did. Let's see, anniversary. There we go. So there's lots of cool freebies stuff. If you are interested in Lord of the Rings Online but haven't logged in lately, do be sure to log in before tonight, before 3 a.m. server time, with a character that is at least level 2. You'll get all sorts of goodies awarded to your account for free, including, I think, all of the below level 100 content that there is. So that's cool. Thanks, SSG. Have a chat question. Do asks, not trying to go off topic. Well, plugins are always on topic, but is there a plugin that is live or could be made that allows you to use the red dots for enemies to be seen on the compass even if you're over level instead of mindlessly pressing tab? So, short answer is plugins do not have currently a way to interact with the contents of the radar. And unless there's something that can be done with skinning, which I believe the answer is no, I believe we do not have the ability to change what gets rendered in the radar, other than the fact that we can turn on or off a whole bunch of different icons. There is, if you don't already know it, an option for trivial quests. So if you search for UI settings, show trivial quest icons in the radar, that is very handy. I highly recommend it if you're a person who really likes doing quests, but are sometimes over-leveled for your area. Do tick that one on, and when you're running through even Hobbiton, you're level 140, you might see a ring over there and say, I should go talk to that Hobbit and see what they need. But unfortunately, I do not believe there's a corresponding show trivial mobs in the radar. I mean, they're trivial for a reason. So tabbing is a thing. I highly recommend, if you can, find a hunter friend to just do a search. Hunters can search for humanoids, for animals, and for generally evil things, and pop up a little dot on the radar, and they can do that every 30 to 60 seconds. I forget the exact amount of time. I actually had the fortune of running in a regular Saturday party here on the Treebird server with 2 hunters. And so when we've been doing the Battle of Lorien recently, and there's 2 named NPCs that come on the field, and so it feels like we just always have a hunter search going for those. They're both humanoids, and the hunters are just like, nope, 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 there it is, and it just goes up on all of our radars, and then we can charge that lieutenant down, and it's great. So get yourself a hunter, you won't regret it. Stance on the Fire says, I know that at level 2, I do get messages saying there are some rewards that can't be delivered until the character has completed the intro and prologue. Does anyone know, just in case, if the undeliverables will be delivered still if you finish from that after tonight? So the best way to check Stands on the Fire, or on Treebeard or Shadowfax, stands in the red box of doom, is if you go into your DLog, which you can access using, let's see, this button down here that looks like a book is the DLog. There's also a key binding probably for it by default. For me, it is, let's see, Shift N, but I'm using a different keyboard layout than you probably are. But you can open up the DLog, come into Race and Social, look at completed, and what you are looking for is Happy 15th Anniversary. If you have that completed, then I would expect, but I haven't tested this, I would expect that you will get those rewards once your character has completed the introduction. That being said, the introduction on most characters normally takes less than half an hour, especially if you're already familiar with the story of that introduction. For instance, I wouldn't say I can do the Hobbit intro in my sleep, but I'm definitely there crying out, "Oh, dear," along with Celadine Brandybuck. So, depending on how much you're reading the quest versus just saying next, it's going to take you somewhere between 5 and 30 minutes to complete. So if you don't want to risk it, you still have time to do it. Oh, you have friends. Awesome. Asking that. I'm going to pop back up for a moment, but Sons of Fire, I blazed through the intro, but I have friends just starting out asking me that. So that's what I would say is if they have the time to do it tonight, just in case. But this is the thing that is causing those rewards to happen. It's the Happy 15th Anniversary Deed, limited deed. Starting tomorrow, you will not be able to get this again. And the reward for that is the Mortar Collector's Edition, Minas Morgul Collector's Edition, and War of Three Peaks Collector's Edition for your account. So that's cool. And if you have that deed completed, or if your friends have that deed in their deed log completed, then I would expect, fingers crossed, that you'll get those rewards. And you can see if you hover over these things, sometimes there's more text. Played at level 2 during our 15th anniversary. And the thing is, received expansion pack collector's edition gifts for logging in during our 15th anniversary. So that should be enough. Sometimes things happen though. SSG only has so much time to test things before they go out. And so things that come back year after year after year, like the Anniversary Festival itself, have had a lot of exposure and testing. But this specific Happy 15th Anniversary deed, this is its grand debut. So if there are going to be any issues, it might be with an edge case like that. So if you want to be double sure and not have to submit a customer support ticket after the fact, just go ahead and log in after dinner, run through that intro with at least one character, or if you already have a character that is level 2, log in, or out of the intro, log in with it just to be sure. Edge cases do happen. They've probably tested that specific one, but you never know. You could be the QA person's new favorite topic of the day. Okay, what else do we have? Some stuff has scrolled past here. Okay, so Do says, okay, thanks. Is there a plugin for Deeds Quest that shows every quest in the land of the deed book? Someone completed the whole Bree land. So what I can tell you is there is not, well, okay, there are two answers to your question. Okay, let me go ahead and get something installed, and then Compendium. There we go. So there's two plugins I want to show you. The first is Lotro Compendium, made by Lunar Water, the same person who made the Lotro Plugin Compendium, this out-of-game tool that I'm using to install the plugins. So remember, hit that little green arrow to refresh your plugins. And then we have, let's see, Compendium. Let's load that sucker. So if you're looking for just a data dump, a raw dump of, oh, thanks. We'll put that away for a sec. If you're looking for a data dump of all the things in the game, then Lotro Compendium, the plugin, is a thing that can do that. So for instance, I'm on the Compendium 2.0, I'm on the quests. So if I search for Lucky, we can see that there's, let's see, I was actually looking for Lucky Day at the Races. Oh, that's a deed, of course. Well, you know what, a lovely year. That's a quest that I currently have active. And we can see the name is another lovely year, the levels, scaling, etc., etc. What we can also do, besides searching for a specific one, is go ahead and filter by zone. So I can come in here, filter by, I'm actually looking for Shire, and Shire. Okay, great. Now here's a list of all the quests that are listed in the Shire zone. Now that doesn't tell you if they're currently available. For instance, some of these are seasonal, but it does tell you that they are there. So Beckons' birthday, that is a quest that is technically available in the Shire. There are checkboxes here, so you can manually check off that you have done them, but to my knowledge, it does not currently check them off for you as you complete things. So that is a thing. There's a lot of quests in the game, though. That can be kind of tough. The second thing is the Lotro Companion. This is a desktop application, and it can do something similar where it can check on your current completion in-game by peeking at what your character's done, and then you can do a similar thing. I believe they are both using the same source of data. So I can go ahead and let's just do a fresh import. Will I get some more water? Okay, and we can see it's pulling that in right now. Sometimes it can take a few moments. Oh, it's probably stymied by the fact that I haven't opened my vaults, so it's probably going to skip those. Yep. Okay. So, other thing, your client does not get the contents of your vaults or your wardrobe until you open it for the first time on logging in. So that is the source of that delay. When you open your shared storage, for instance, it pulls it down for the first time. Fun fact. So now that we've done that, we can come into Affodil on Treebeard and come look at quests. And so this is going to be a kind of a nice way to look at this side by side with the game instead of in a small window in the game. So I can do the same thing here, though. I can filter based off of Shire. Um, Now, Lotro Companion knows whether I've completed things or not, so I can say only show me things I haven't completed. I can say don't show me hidden quests; those are quests that are presumably not active right now. So hidden, no. Don't show me session play quests. And we can see that this character, who is my completionist character in Treebeard, is missing the Great Wide Open and there in Bach again, not currently available on Treebeard. Two skip introduction quests. I didn't. And the Mysterious Relic in the Shire, not available yet. Which means my character has completed all the quests in the Shire that are currently available. Now, Lotro Companion does not have a sense of why your quest isn't undone. I have to know that 3 of those are not available on this server yet, and 2 of them are not available because I didn't skip the introduction. I have to know that. It's not going to have that information for me. So I wouldn't say it's a complete solution, but it is so useful. It doesn't have the context for quests, but it does know that you've started them, that you've completed them, that kind of thing. The person behind Lotro Companion has to bring it up to date whenever there's new releases for the game. So it is generally up to date, to answer your question in chat there. Now, there is a Discord server. I think there's a link to it on the website. And let's see. Do I have a quick link for this? If I search for Lotro Companion, what do we get? Lotro Companion. Well, here's a link. So if you search for that on the Lotro forums, it looks like you'll find a link to releases with patch notes and that kind of thing. So that's a great place to start. And cool. Okay, so here's a link to SourceForge. Sure, I accept your cookies. Why not? And I'm not seeing the link to the Discord server. I'm sure it's around somewhere. So now, the third thing I was going to say, that's all on the quest side. Of course, Lotro Companion knows about deeds as well. So if I were to come into deeds, I could do the same thing. I could filter based off of categories. So if I'm looking for Shire deeds, I can come in and say, just show me Shire deeds. And I can also say, just show me ones I haven't completed. And we can see that it's all probably stuff that has virtue experience because I'm maxed out on virtue experience. So let's take a look at the virtue experience reward. And it is... Okay, looks like Yonder Shire, haven't done that yet, and otherwise virtue experience, because I maxed out until June on Treebeard. Okay, so that is awesome. I highly recommend playing around with it if you are comfortable letting a third-party application run on your system. It's neat. Okay, the other thing I really like to recommend is if you like deeds, and I do, then there's a plugin called Deed Tracker. We'll move this little bobble out of the way. Deed Tracker will also show you deeds in game, but its focus is showing them in a hierarchical fashion. So we can see the deeds of Breeland here. We can see in order to complete the deeds of Breeland, you have to complete the Explorer of Breeland, and for that you have to complete Barrow Downs, Old Forest Ruins, Lore of the Cardolan Prince, History, Flowers, and so on. And Breeland Adventurer Final is followed by Adventurer and the Basic. And so the hierarchical view of this is the point. Also showing you deeds you haven't started yet, because you'll not get those in the normal in-game deed log. This plugin will automatically detect when you complete a deed. So you can just let it run in the background to set it to auto-load using the automatically load for drop-down box here. Automatically load for, set it to automatically load, and then it will just track your deed completions in the background. I have temporarily moved all my plugin data away, so it doesn't know. That being said, Deed Tracker also has an import capability from the Lotro plugin compendium. So did I already close that? I said Lotro plugin compendium. I meant Lotro Companion. Lunar Water, if you could go back in time and rename your awesome tool to anything else that doesn't start with C, that would really help me. Ugh. Okay, so one of the things is that the Deed Tracker comes with, oh, I didn't need to open that. If you go into, oops, I've opened one too many. If you go into your plugins, Cube plugins, that's me, Deed Tracker, there is a import deed completion from Lotro Compendium. You can run that. It'll pop up a window. It'll say, I found these things. You know, I can import these things. So Treebeard, Affodil, run the import. Awesome. And then we can load Deed Tracker. And it will say, hey, oh, the window has appeared behind. That seems like a bug. It'll say, hey, there's 897 deeds that you have completed that aren't marked off in your deed tracker. Would you like to do that? Sure, let's do that. Awesome. And then we can see those are all marked as complete in the deed tracker. So that's a handy dandy way to do it, especially if you, like me, are really good doing this for, what do I have left? You can go ahead and hide those completed deeds. And we can see in Bree land, I'm just missing one thing drives out another, a legendary server deed that you can only finish at level 65, coming soon in June, or July, technically. But we can see in the Shire, I'm only missing the deeds of Yonder Shire. Heirloom's fine. North Down's what I'm missing. Oh, roving threats. Treasure of the North Down, not actually available yet, and I'm not high enough level. Weird that it's saying that I can. I'll have to look at that. Cool. So that's Deed Tracker. And from now on, if Deed Tracker is running, it'll see me complete deeds, pop up a little thing with little information about it. And let's see. Just for kicks. Oh, of course. I haven't turned on the thing that says don't include stuff above character level. There are a bunch of options in here. That being said, if I were to come in here and in globals, open that up and say, is there a debug value? What do we have? Show debug options. Great. Where is that thing? It's not. Okay. Show debug options equals true. We're just going to turn on the debug options. Now, I don't recommend doing this if you're running at home necessarily. You don't need to. But as someone who likes working with plugins, sometimes I would like to do that. And it's very useful for me to, for instance, say, hey, I just finished Paths of the Dead. This tricks Deed Tracker into thinking it saw me complete this, just so I can go ahead and, wait, where'd it go? Oh, that's so funny. So I'll show them, but I won't let you complete them. Awesome. Let me go back up here. We're going to go ahead and hide. Do not include deeds above character level. Awesome. All right, what things can I complete? Great, of course, Yonder Shire. So if we come in here and just say Insect Slayer of Yonder Shire, I'm going to trick it into thinking I've finished that. And this is what it looks like when Deed Tracker automatically detects that you finished a deed. It'll pop it up saying, hey, this is what it was. You were supposed to defeat 60 insects in Yondershire, and the lore, if you hover over it in the deed log, says defeat many insects in Yondershire. Cool. There's even a button where you can share it with people around you. Fellowship, raid, chat, say, that kind of thing. Try not to abuse it. The Lotro system will automatically squelch you for some amount of time if you oh, a little frozen there. The Lotro system will squelch you if you abuse chat by spamming a bunch of things. So watch out for that. Why is my system behaving poorly? I blame fireworks. We're gonna back up here. Did a virus scan start or something? Well, hopefully it's not causing the stream to be unintelligible. Cool, okay. So those are the things that come to mind off the top of my head. For quests, we have the Lotro Compendium and also the Lotro Companion. And for deeds, there is the deed tracker. There's no corresponding quest tracker plugin yet. A couple of plugin developers I know are thinking thoughts along those lines, but there's nothing quite like the deed tracker yet for quests. But those are things. Awesome. Let's see. Anything else in chat? Okay. Do also asked something about showing all the quest rings on a whole map, like every quest ring, gray or gold, so we know we got them all done. So to my knowledge, there is no facility to show you things on the in-game map. There is a plugin called More Map that integrates with the plugin Compendium that we saw. It had a little pop-up saying you can integrate with More Map. More Map lets you have in-game maps where you can put stuff on them, and other plugins can interact with that. So that's something to look into, but I don't know much about More Map at all. I just haven't dug into that. But plugins do not have the capability of putting stuff on the in-game map here. Though technically they could put stuff on the screen above the map, they don't have a way to interact with the map in a sensible manner. And every once in a while, SSG releases newer, fancier versions of the maps. Like this Breeland map is not what it looked like a couple of years ago, and anything that is drawing on maps has to take that into account and rescale everything, and it's extra effort. Cool. Okay. Do asks, is there a way, a plugin or a program that lets you translate the game into Spanish or Italian? Short answer is there is a lot of text in the game, and the game itself only has official support for English, French, and German. That being said, a plugin author can have their plugin support whatever languages they want to. You can offer a drop-down for players to select a language, essentially. The D tracker, for instance, let's see, if I come into, is it going to be strings or globals? Probably globals. Globals. And language. Yeah, get client language. If we come in here and just say return German, then if we come into the plugins and load D tracker, give it a sec. Oh, haha, there's errors. Oh, of course. I forget that you can't return early like that without causing problems in Lua. There we go. Nope. Compare number with no. But why? Well, I thought this was going to work. Oh, how funny. Ooh, I'll have to play with that. It appears I might have a small bug on the German side of things, so I'm going to make a little note here. German. Hide deeds above level plus German equals doesn't work? I'll have to look into that. But in the meantime, if you have a bug that seems to be keyed off of plugin data that is misbehaving, you can actually come into your plugin data. In this case, it's Treebeard, and then it's all characters, and you can just go ahead and delete stuff, right? You can say, nope, that D tracker information is gone. And specific information for D tracker, that's gone too. And then you can just start over from scratch and say, was that the problem? Fascinating. Okay. Well, we're just going to have to say that's not the way to make that happen. I'll try one more thing, and we're going to move on to other things. That's what I do for doing impromptu stuff that I haven't tested. Bad argument. Fascinating. All right. And if I undo my changes, does it work again? Oh, no. Well, I've just gone and messed things up. I'm going to leave that there then. Um, that's not really the focus of things. But yes, in general, a plugin can arbitrarily set its language. So plugins, I'm going to assume that was part of my problems there. Cool. So plugins can show their own languages. But the game itself, not so much. Dude says, I was just asking because I know there's an unofficial Russian Lotro executable client people play on. So first of all, yes, I have heard that as well. It is possible to do such a thing. I don't know how much of the game text has been translated. And let me tell you, there's a lot of game text. This game is a client wrapped around multiple books worth of text, from the text in your DLog to your chat log, to your quest log, anytime you interact with an NPC, all of that. And I don't know how much of that has been translated, but if it has been, every single sentence would have had to been translated by a fan translator. And if you're starting a new language, you're starting all of that from scratch. And so they might have started that a decade ago and just have gradually caught things up as they've moved. But now you've got 15 years worth of content to translate from scratch. It's a huge undertaking. I don't know that anyone's trying to do it, and I don't think it's officially supported. And that being said, as a general rule, downloading a random executable, Russian or not, from the internet is something you should do with a hint of caution. Random executables can be innocuous, or they can do bad things to your computer. So watch out for that. Okay. Well, that was a lovely set of diversions. Thank you so much for some excellent questions. Let us see what we are doing. So my goal is to load up Festival Buddy here and see what it would take to make some changes. All right, so we have a Festival Buddy. When Festival Buddy is not visible, you can just do /festival, as it says here in the standard chat channel. And specifically, we're looking for the anniversary. Oh, it's nighttime in game. Probably has been for a little while. Let's come on over here and get the quest so we can see the event bar ourselves. I will give you a moment of my time. Awesome. So one of the things that Festival Buddy is already doing is that whenever the festival announcer says something, Festival Buddy puts this text up on the screen, puts it up there for a few seconds, and then it fades out. That's a lovely start. For me, that's not enough, of course, because you still have 20 seconds, and I think I'd much rather see that be up for the whole amount of time. In fact, that might be a thing to think about, is maybe it can be up for the whole amount of time. So I'm going to go ahead and load up Visual Studio Code here. It is capable of understanding Lua. If you have some extensions, it will even understand the Lotro API. I'm recommending the Lotro API. Oh, Linderwater, you released another update. I only just updated to 1.0.10. So I highly recommend the Lotro API extension for Visual Studio Code. It understands the Lotro API side of things and uses the Lua extension to help with understanding the syntax of Lua itself. Cool. So, Festival Buddy, let's go on in. Oh, we can see a bunch of views here. Visual Studio Code is reminding me that I have not committed anything to source control. So we're going to go ahead and pause and do that. So I already had a Galahad plugins repository set up. So we're going to go ahead and do an initial commit of everything here. And that was Festival Buddy 145. So I'm just going to go ahead and say initial commit of 145. We can even say Festival Buddy 145. We're going to go ahead and commit that and push it on out. Make sure it's not on my machine anymore, not just on my machine. And I've been playing around with some of Galahad's other plugins, so I already had a few other ones downloaded. Okay, so what do we have? Let's head on back to Visual Studio Code, where it will recognize that those have all been committed. So now it can tell me things that have actually changed. Very handy. Okay, so Festival Buddy has is also localized for English, French, and German. And like a lot of plugins, it has a strings.lua file. In here, we can probably find something like festival announcer. Let's search for announcer. There we go, NPC fireworks announcer. The real question is, where else is that used? And we can see in chatlogger.lua. Great, let's take a look at that. In chatlogger.lua, we have Bree fireworks announcer, anniversary, great. If selected quest equals fireworks, that is to say, in this window, if you said, I am working on fireworks in Bree, then it's going to be doing some stuff. We have a C message, filter say. Now, I'm a little curious, where did this come from? Let's hover on over and go to, go to usages, I should say. Final references, temp message equals toString. What I'm really curious about is if they strip off any coloring. It looks like they don't, doesn't matter in our case, but I was just a little curious. So let's head on into filter say. We can see we have an incoming message, and looks like if they find the fireworks announcer, and that's an important thing, is every one of these fireworks announcer says blah. And so if the text contains fireworks announcer, that's a good start. Someone could say fireworks announcer is awesome, and it would also match that, but that's a good start. So if fireworks announcer is in there, then it just goes. That is fun. So it's just looking for stuff between the quotes and putting it up on the screen. So if I were actually to say fireworks announcer is on the ball, cool, then that's actually going to come up on the screen also because it's not checking for specific messages. Fun. I would say that is overly accepting of the possibilities. That, you want to be careful not to open up your plugin for other people griefing you. So it's reasonable to have some extra checks in there. Now this doesn't do anything innocuous, it just puts some text up on the screen. Now you could see it got in the way of what the fireworks announcer was actually saying. So here we go. So if someone did that at the same time the fireworks announcer said something, it would kind of cover up the text and get in the way. There was a bug in Titan Bar for a while that it was looking in any channel, not just a reputation channel. And so if you put out into world chat that a correctly formatted string, it would make everyone's reputation with Bree. Titan Bar would think it was a little bit higher or a little bit lower. So don't, if you're looking at a channel like Say that anyone can affect if they're close enough to you, it's good to be a little bit cautious about what you're accepting. Okay, that was just a thought that comes to mind while I'm looking at the code here. Okay, so we're looking for something between quotes, and we get that. We can see here that fireworks announcer says, quote, quote, quickly launch a red firework high in the sky, quote, quote. It's using two single quotes, and so we find a single quote, text and single quote, awesome. And then it does an alert. An alert is the thing that puts that on the screen. Great. So what I'm interested in is having a UI that pops up when we, when we have the festival UI and we go to fireworks and Bree, I would like that UI to pop up and be repositionable so it goes on top of here. And it will have those hollow cutouts that we can put borders around. And we can just keep on clicking on the normal one. And I would like a timer that ticks down. I don't know that I can complete all of that tonight, but the good news is we have all the text. So we know that we can find the specific messages in chat. So it's really just a question of giving ourselves the debug capability so we can keep testing and keep playing around with this even when it's not festival time. Okay, that being said, let's go ahead and figure out how this plugin knows which quest it's on. We have a selected quest. Surely that is going to be changed somewhere. We have a main window. Great. It is in refresh quest guide. So go to references. Cool. When that dropdown is changed, we call it refresh quest guide. Excellent. Let's see, what else? Theater stuff. Okay, don't care about any of that. Awesome. So we're in refresh quest guide. We have a quest name. We can select a quest to that. Awesome. What else do we do? All right. In quests, selected festival. So we're looking in Lang quests. I'm curious what's in that. Okay. Spring, summer, harvest month, Yule, anniversary. Oh, farmer's fair is empty. That makes sense. So anniversary, Bree fireworks. Cool. Okay. So why are we searching through this? We're doing a pairs on quest. If we have a setting, language equals quest name. What is V? Oh, I think it's, okay. It's giving us the informational quest, I think. Label quest guide, set text, yep. And then emote assist, yeah. Gives assist. Okay, cool. Some of the things that you can do have an emote assist. So for instance, if you're doing harvest math and you say you're doing the Troves and Trickery, there's an emote assist, just the emotes that you need for that specific quest. And so when you change, it goes ahead and closes that. Awesome, good to know. Fireworks and Bree, great. And there's a QS, Quickslot assist. Oh, interesting. Okay, well, it makes me wonder, what does a Quickslot assist look like? I wonder if we can get that to open up. There we go. Quick slots. Oh, okay. So boots, yeah. Quick slots, boots. Boots. Great. Anything that's not a shrew stomping? Frost buff. Okay. Let's go check out theater. So we're going to go ahead to Yule and Frostbuff Theater. Okay, so it's a window. You can move around, but it's not quite what we need for this. Maybe we can use that anyway. So if we come on in, back to here, it closes itself. Great. Okay, so this is part of learning a new plugin. Is just figuring out what does it do, how does it do it, how can we integrate our changes with the least amount of conflict with how it already does things. So if I were doing this, we can see that this bar here is an event Quickslot. And so if I weren't going to do an ad hoc one-off for this quest only, do a thing, and I might do that just to get it started, then my alternative would be, hey, there's an event Quickslot, and we're going to have a new property event Quickslot, and then it would define things like, here's the background image to use, here's how big it is, whatever else we need. Right now, I think I'm not going to worry about that. Okay. put a special case here for, let's see, we already had chat logger. So put a special case here for this. If that quest show the event Quickslot. Instead of Quickslot, I keep forgetting what this is called because you have to hover over it. Okay, event Quickslots for show the event Quickslots template of choice. Otherwise, hide it. Awesome. So we're going to have an event Quickslot. Great. And we'll create it in an ad hoc manner for now, but eventually we could have event Quickslots for multiple things with different characteristics and fold it into how this plugin behaves naturally. So that lets us show and hide what we're looking for here. The other thing is the chat logger is going to need to be able to interact with it. So here, oh, that's interesting. Alert takes sender message duration. Oh, you know, it would be really interesting to go ahead and just have that message come up on the screen for the full 18 seconds. Right, if we're on anniversary, fireworks, and Bree. Why not have this message show up this whole time? And it goes away when it's too late for you to do the thing. 2, 1, new one. I like that. So that's a good placeholder for an actual timer. Now, the one thing I'm concerned about is it's still vulnerable to someone else being a goof and saying something with the word fireworks announcer in it. So we can check to say, does it start with this? Actually, notice that the text is in green. That is going to show up in the string that we get. And that's going to be based off of, I think the game controls that, but the game could change it. So it can be nice to strip off the text in there. We already have a way to do that. We can pull that in from another one, another plugin. So if I open up, let's see, documents, plugin log, plugins, cube plugins, and the 100 at the decoy, I'm going to say. Let's see. Is it all still here? Where is chat? Maybe it's in main. I have inconsistent orderings. All right, so chat received. We have a get raw text function that we use there. And that's probably in our globals. Get raw, nope. Well, let's find out. Get raw text, yeah. Have to search in the right location. Okay, so get raw text. The way this works is you set up a label, and if you set markup enabled, then when you put the text into it, it's fine. But when you call get text on it, you get without the markup. It's just a little bit bypass mechanism. So we can go ahead and copy this over. And bring it on in. And we can get yelled at because marker is defined as global. No, I'm good. Now, do we have a turbine.ui.label? We might not. Where is this defined? All right, turbine gameplay UI Lotro. Well, that's all good. Chat logger. That's all the way down there. What is your problem with that? I just don't like levels right now. Sometimes the Lua parser is a little bit wonky, but we can always simply unload and reload the plugin, and that'll do a quick little test to see does this stuff parse as far as Lotro is concerned, because that's the end-all be-all. Okay, so we have a quick little function to get the raw text. And that's important because if we go ahead and do a turbine.shell.writeLine of the C message, and then we do, why don't you like turbine? That's so weird. If we go ahead and do get raw text, do that for both the message and the raw text of the message, we're going to see that when we spit that back out, one of those should have the green text and one of those won't. So let's go ahead and get the fireworks announcer to say something. It's every 20 seconds. There we go. When we spit that back out, we spit it out in two ways. One, the green text is still there, and in the other, that text has been stripped and it's just the raw color of the channel, in this case, the standard channel. Excellent. So that raw message doesn't have any color stuff in it, and that means it can be very easy to say, does it start with fireworks announcer says and not have a problem. Okay. Now, when you send something to chat, it either says you say, or if someone else has said it, so-and-so says. And so that's how we're going to stop anyone from putting stuff up on our screen. So instead of if string.find, we want to do a starts with. Now, does Lua have a starts with? I'm not sure. I'm not really a Lua expert. So Lua string starts with. Now, it is possible to use pattern matching, a rough equivalent to regular expressions, to answer this. But let's see if the internet has a thing. Okay, yep. It does suggest using a pattern with a caret to indicate that whatever it is must be the beginning. So we're going to go ahead and do a string.find of fireworks announcer. But we can go ahead and what is that? Is that just fireworks announcer? Awesome. So we're looking for caret, and then says dot format. If I've done my stuff correctly, I have not. This is funny. I was just learning of this technique from a different plugin, so let me go bother that plugin and see what was I missing. So that was plugins, and that was the buff monitor, of course. So buff bars. Yes. And where would that have been? I don't know. So we're going to go ahead and do a search. We'll do a recursive search. And that was format. Oh yes, the time format, of course. Was it just there? I could have sworn I saw somewhere else, like format, colon. Yes. Okay, so parentheses and then colon. That's what I'm missing. Fun. I wanted to try that out. This is a good excuse to do so. Morpheus has done !support. I can't speak about that command, but I would point out that you can get to support via standingstonegames.com or help.standingstonegames.com. If there's any in-game problems that don't require them, but perhaps require a question that I can answer, feel free to put it into chat. But as most streamers here on the Lotro Stream channel, I am just a fan who enjoys talking about, in this case, plugins. Welcome. Now, this is fancy, but I don't think it's the way we should do because it's going to be doing it every time we look at a say. Morpheus says, you tried that. The ticket is still open and unresolved. I'm sorry to hear that. They are working through, a year ago. Well, I can't speak to your specific issue, but if you feel like it has been a long time like that, feel free to toss another ticket, and hopefully whatever caused that first ticket to not be resolved will itself be resolved. Okay, so as I was saying, I wouldn't want to do this every time we're in this function. This is a function that's going to be called a fair amount while you're standing here, and it feels silly to format this every single time. But I was curious about what does that look like as far as the syntax for that. Okay, well, we can see whatever it was, that didn't work because now it's not working anymore. So let's go ahead and back up. So we already had a fireworks announcer. But you know what? We can just say if it starts with it. We don't even need the rest of that. The rest of that was just a fancy flair. So let's go ahead and... Oops. That's not even the right window. Let's go ahead and back out of there. Come back to the chat logger and just say it needs to start with it. So that concatenate with this. Now, string concatenation itself isn't the most performant thing in the world, but it's a single character plus another couple dozen characters. I'm not too worried about it. I would like to see it. Oh, of course, I didn't do the stripping of the stuff. So we need that get raw text. Otherwise, we are going to start with that coloring. Local raw text equals get raw text, see message. And then if string find the raw text starts with fireworks announcer, awesome. Morpheus says, thanks, I've done that multiple times, and they closed new ones and just tagged the original. I thought maybe there was a way to get some traction on it here. Unfortunately, this is not the stream to do that because I have no more insight into the problem than you do. If it doesn't seem obvious why they keep doing that, and you haven't had any success with tickets or forums, then I'm at a loss of what is going on. Oh, but we have seen that this was a successful change, and if we go back to fireworks announcer is on the ball, we can see it does not put that text on the screen. So that was a good little check. Cool. So now we have, by saying, okay, we're doing a string find, but it has to be the very start of this, minus any formatting stuff like colors. Now we say it has to be the fireworks announcer, putting that text into say. Cool. One little avenue of other people causing text to appear on your screen gone. We can get rid of these little debug statements. Okay, so the next thing is, it would be nice to not just know the message, but also which color. And is it yes, an inclusive or an exclusive? And for that, we can come back into the strings. So we have festivals, other. Where would we put this? Definitely not in quests, tokens. it might be in other. So other sounds good. Let's go ahead and, as an aside, I have seen this style of doing strings with them all side by side, English, French, German, etc., Russian, as you can see, Russian's in here. And I've started to lean away from that into separate files for each, but that requires external tooling to make sure that you don't miss something when you do an update. It's a whole extra thing. So this is fine. This is fine. Just a thought that occurs in my head. Okay, so we have. Did I accidentally delete anything? No. Okay. We have NPC. Okay, fireworks. Announcements equals, and in here we have English equals, and that's going to be a new table. And remember, end your tables with semicolons. Oh my goodness. So we have a bunch of these, kind of. Let's go take a look. Okay, done and done. So we have all of these, but remember, we have specific colors that we're going to call out, or specific forms. And so what we want is, first of all, let's run this raw text. Farathon says, oh, something to translate. Yes, and you've only got a few days or a few hours to get the French versions of this text. Farathon, you said you came on late. If you sit in the fireworks area and have a tab that is just recording say, and then you hit the equivalent of chat logging capture chat in the French client, just let it sit there for an hour or two, and then you'll have probably all of the French variations on what the fireworks announcer says. If I have time, I might do this tonight, but no guarantees I have time for that. So you just let it sit there. You eventually get a file that looks like this. Documents, Lord of the Rings Online, fireworks announcer, because it's going to be a mix of fireworks announcer, spectators, anyone else who comes on by. But that's fine, because it's easy enough to find all of the lines that start with fireworks announcer. So we can do that right here. Fireworks announcer, find them all, and copy them into a new file, right? Super easy. So if you have that chat capture, feel free to just send it to me, or process it yourself, either way. So what we're looking for is something like what we see over here in the chat logger. It is looking for an expression that starts with a quote. Actually, double quote first and then quote. Why double quote? Not sure. And then it's capturing everything and then another quote. So we can do that same thing. But I have been burned by this before, so let's copy one of these into a Lua pattern matching utility and just make sure there's no gotchas. So there's a Lua patterns matcher here. We can go ahead and I wonder if there's a tester for it. No, sorry, this is what I'm doing. So we're gonna go ahead and, how about a bright blue one, launch it now. But here we want dot star, there we go. So how about a bright, and then we're gonna capture, and then, that's interesting. Why is on doing that? Oh, of course. The question mark is a quantifier. That's a gotcha. So we need to escape that and make sure we have one question mark. Launch it now, exclamation point. Cool. Okay, so that question mark was a gotcha. And that's exactly what we were looking for, is any characters in here that I'm just not thinking are going to be a problem. So now we have fireworks announcer says blah, blah, blah. We're going to capture the color, and then one, because that space here and that space there should constrain us to just the color. Escape character matches the question mark literally. Launch it now, exclamation point. Perfect. Okay, so we can come in here and say, in these patterns, anytime there's a question mark, let's escape it with the % sign. Marathon is appreciating the pattern tester. Excellent. Now, those are the only question marks in here, aren't they? How about you don't have a question mark? Okay. Now, we can do something very similar. Let's dazzle the crowd. Okay, let's dazzle. We can see that there's nothing going on there. Awesome. Let's dazzle with... Oh, we didn't actually do something besides. Let's do that now. Okay, how about something besides escaped? Awesome. Let's go ahead, in fact, let's go ahead and collapse these down. Dot star instead of blue, and then that's green, red, yellow. How about something besides? Dot star. Blue, green, red, yellow. And we can copy this in and see that we're going to, how about something besides capture, question mark, launch it now. Awesome. Just what we want. Same thing here. We're going to go ahead and escape, or sorry, capture a color. Test that new capture text. Everything looks good. And same thing. Instead of blue, we're going to make a capture group and check the result. And the thing that we're going to do here is in the code, we're going to have to go through each one of these. And one of the reasons I really liked the idea of adding this on to Festival Buddy is Festival Buddy already thinks, okay, unless this quest is active, we're not going to be doing the thing. So you already have to be here and have opted into the fireworks quest, and then we can look at each thing that comes in to say and see, is it this, is it this, is it this, is it this? Now the other thing we can do, oh, that's an idea. Sorry, I'm having a thought. There's already a bunch of strings that we're going to have. Do we need a pattern matching given that we already know all of the strings? We could just say, is it one of these? And check them all. Like constructing a pattern matching, if it's anything like regular expressions, is non-trivial. And to do it against every one of them every time we get a chat, instead of just saying, hey, did we have this exact string? Oh, that's a thought. Hang on. You know what they say. If you have a problem and you want to use regular expressions, now you have two problems. Maybe we just don't need that. What if we just say, these are our strings. Are they here? And if they are, that's fine. And in fact, we'd want to go ahead and resort them. So, blue, yes. Yeah, I got what this says, arranged in a binary tree. Kind of, yeah. You know, we have, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 5 of them, and for each one of them we have a positive and a negative. So, yeah, we could actually say like yes 1, yes 2, yes 3, yes 4, or we could divide them the other way and say like blue yes or blue no. And there's 5 of each of those. Red yes, red no, green yes, green no, yellow yes, yellow no. Does one of those make sense more than the other? I mean, that's what we're trying to answer, right? Is this a yellow yes? Is it a yellow no? Okay, so we only have 39 here, so let's fill in our missing one. Blue, green, blue, green, yeah. Okay, quickly launch one. There we go. So blue, green, yellow, red, yellow. So we need a red. Okay, so presumably these 40 are all of them. So if we go ahead and just select all of them, go ahead and set those into quotes. Not quote. And then we can just have a couple of constants, right? Like, so equals color yes, no. but we'll actually substitute that into like blue yes, blue no, whatever. Let's think about that for a second. I am fascinated with this idea. So, well, that is not happy at all. What's going on here? Well, first of all, it doesn't know about yes, no. Fair. Let's just define that really fast. Color yes, no equals false. Let's give that, and let's see what's up with this. Are we having a problem because of missed symbol? Oh, of course. What would that look like? Yeah, there we go. So we actually want these, of course, to be entries in a table. Cool. Okay. And then we just sort of need like an enumeration. Now the funny thing is, I don't think this really belongs in strings necessarily, the values, but it'll be fine. So what are our colors? Red, yes equals 1. Red, no equals 2. I don't know, what are the rest of our colors? Green, yes equals 4. Green, no equals 8. If Lua has bit mask enumerations, I should be using that instead of this, but you know. What else do we have? Blue, okay. Blue yes equals 16. Blue no equals. Why am I even doing bit mask? They can't. It's like mutually exclusive. I don't know. And then what is it? Yellow yes equals 64. Yellow no equals 128. So for each one of these, it is a distinctly one of those answers, right? So how about a bright blue one? Okay, cool. We know that is a blue yes. How about a bright green? Cool. Green yes. Red yes. And yellow yes. And then for each one of them, we can do the opposite. Something besides a blue. Cool, that's a blue no. And same thing for the others. Green no. Red no. And finally yellow no. Cool. And then we can do the same thing for each of these, right? Let's dazzle the crowd with a firework that is blue. All right, well, that's blue yes. Green yes. Red yes, and yellow yes. And same thing, invert it to blue. In fact, let's go ahead and make life easier on me. Now, I'm sure I'm missing an obvious way to both do this and to think about this. I'm confident there's a better way than this. But my goal is to just have a text. If its entry exists in this table, then to take that value and then feed it into the UI, which can then be, hey, it is one of these possible combinations, one of these 8 possible combinations, so affect the UI accordingly. Now, the UI accordingly might actually be better represented as which one of these is highlighted. And so that's a thought, is, I think I've kind of done that anyway, but you know, if it's yes red, then only red is highlighted. If it's no red, everything but red is highlighted. And in that sense, maybe this would do better as a bit mask kind of thing, where if there's a 1, 2, 4, 8, then, you know, if it's no red, then we got 14. If it's just red, then we got 1. That's probably not what we need, but that is where my mind's heading to. Anyway, let's keep on going on the path that I have set for myself. So blue no, green no, red no, and yellow no, and then alternate. Now, I've got these sorted by the things, but it really feels like maybe I should be sorting them at least internally. All of the blue yeses, all of the blue nos, and that kind of thing. Does that make more sense, or does grouping them in? It doesn't actually matter. But what's better for clarity? I don't know. I'm going to assume that for clarity, keeping the instructions that are similar together is better. I'm not convinced that that is true. But that's the assumption I'm working on, is that it's easier if all of the instructions, if the only thing different is the color, instead of all of the color instructions are the same, but every line is different. I don't know. I have a feeling it's one of those things that I could feel very strongly about and doesn't matter at all because Lotro is not going to care. It's only a maintainer thing. Now, if I wanted to truly minimize my impact on the plugin, I might, instead of putting these in strings, I might put them in like strings firework.lua. So it's just a new file. That has to be included somewhere, of course. So whatever file is including it, that gets changed. But if I'm already making changes to chat logger, maybe it goes ahead and includes that new file as a minimal kind of change to the existing plugin. Just as a thought. Where this is and what includes it can always be changed later, though. So I'm comfortable putting it in the strings for right now. Strings changing as a result of a patch isn't at all weird, so it doesn't bother me on the face of it. Okay. So we have some expected strings, and this is really easy to gather in French or German. And we have a number that will translate into, or at least a global value that we can key off of later. And these are all going to be one of those 8 values. Blue yes, blue no, etc. Okay, now we just need to do something with it. So we have fireworks announcements. Okay, so we're going to keep that alert right there. Local fireworks type equals lang dot other dot fireworks announcements settings dot language. And then we're going to feed in the raw text if fireworks type does not equal nil, then let's go ahead and spit it out. Turbine.shell.writeLine found fireworks type, and we'll just concatenate in that value. We've just checked that it's not null, so this is a safe concatenation. And let's check and see how our syntax is. All right, the plugin loads. That's a good start. Now let's see that fireworks announcer pop something into chat. As we wait. Oh, there we go. Now let's check our plugins tab. Nothing. That's okay. We're going to say no match for, and I'm going to surround it with tildes because I know there are no tildes in the text, and that'll help me figure out if there's any extra characters before or after that I need to be worried about. Possibly a new line character could be messing us up. That happens to me a lot. Look at that new line character. Fireworks announcer says, yep, there's a new line character at the very end. I think my get raw text, let's see, local raw text equals that, return raw text. Zhao has said if we test a condition like string match red and not string match, not the time for red. Yeah, there's ways we could break this apart. Absolutely. I had that thought actually of, oops. Wow. Sorry, yeah, just got rid of it. Yeah, I had that thought about, ooh, we can do a regular expression and find out if it's red or not red or whatever. But the problem is, these are all different. They're different for variety's sake. That's the point. How about a bright red one launch now? Or how about something besides red? So you could search for the word red, space red space. Fine, except for those cases where it's space red exclamation point. But if you search for just red, does red appear in any of the words? Not in English. But you could picture in German or French where RED, the letters, appear in part of a word. So you need some way to delimitate that they are not in a word, right? You need a not word character, RAD, a not word character. Oh, hello birds. We have a bird feeder out there. One of these days, one of the other streamers, Eldelef maybe? One of the other streamers, I can never remember which, French Girl Gaming, has a camera pointed out to their garden, and it seems like a nice thing to do. And usually I'm streaming when it's dark out, but it's summertime and it's early, so the birds are feeding. So yeah, no, I definitely start off on the same mindset of, okay, we can make regular expressions out of these things and figure out yes or no, but then it just it kind of snowballed, right? Like there's so many of them, so you're testing each thing against like 10 different regular expressions, and it is entirely possible just to have a table and say, is the thing here in the table? And if it is, then cool. And just have a lookup table. I've become a big fan of lookup tables. I don't know how they are as far as memory performance is concerned, but I also know that if you're doing the fireworks quest in Bree, that you are also not doing heavy end game raiding simultaneously. It's just, mutually exclusive activities. And hopefully you remember to turn this off when you were not doing the fireworks activity. Okay, so we can either add a new line character to each one of these strings, that's fine, or we can have the raw text function strip off the last character. Right, we can say get text and we could do a substring. But the problem with that is that that's a lot of extra processing for every string, and I just don't care. So instead, what I'm going to do is go ahead and copy this out to Sublime Text. Super easy. And in Sublime Text, we're just going to find every quote, double quote bracket and just go ahead and put a new line character in there. And I don't like that as much. I don't feel like it's as clean. Like, I don't care about the new line, but the fact is it's there. And just one more character in that string is not going to matter. All right, let's unload. Let's reload. Let's reselect the quest. If I were doing serious debugging here, I might have it automatically set the quest that I care about. But the important thing is we found fireworks type 4. What is fireworks type 4? Fireworks type 4, under strings, of course, is green yes. Is that correct? Uh-oh. Hang on a sec. Let me actually write out the thing that we found. All right, found fireworks type for that. Fireworks type that in. And we'll go ahead and concatenate up that raw text. It's entirely possible that I have reversed my logic here. That would be delightful. All right. While we're waiting for that to come in, red yes, just out of curiosity. Right one, okay. So let's come on in here. Found fireworks type 8 in, send up anything except a green fireworks. Okay, great. Green, no. Okay, awesome. Let's minimize this. And next one. Fireworks type 2, launch a red high into the sky. Okay, that's hilarious. Okay, what did I do? Launch a red. Oh, these aren't always in the same order. Ah, Oof. Okay. How about something besides? Let's dazzle. Yes. That isn't. Quickly, let's launch a blue firework high in the sky. Oh my goodness. All right. Yes. Oh my goodness. I did not even think to check the relative ordering. It's like, oh, yes, of course, alphabetical order will get this. No. All right, and then send up. This is perfect. Anything except this is not the time for, but any color will do. Yes. So that has been reversed as well. Awesome. This is not the time for resting. Launch your yellow. Okay. And this is not the time for blue. This is why we test. All right, so we've got those updated. Let's go ahead and reload this plugin and see if that makes sense. Excellent question, Zhao. Comments on early. It's almost 8, which means it's almost time for me to log off so we can prepare for Eurovision. That's okay. We can continue to make progress on this long after the anniversary event ends because we have all of these strings already. That being said, where are we? Oh, Zhao says, is the plugin version control on GitHub or some cloud that we can clone or send pull requests? Excellent question. Every plugin author gets to kind of do it themselves. There are certainly some plugin authors on GitHub. I think I want to say the person who is behind Gibberish, for instance, has sent out a call for, hey, if anyone wants to assist. So let me pull that up real fast. Gibberish. Yeah, Gibberish, and here's their link to their GitHub, for instance. So I think they are eager to have people join them in the support of Gibberish if that's your jam. They also have a Discord link, etc. Some people will use the built-in SVN available or subversion available up on Lotro interface itself. Some people have their own private Git repositories. That's what I've done. So far, I have not felt like the code that I produce is really worth other people messing about with. I don't mind patches at all. I don't mind people reaching out for collaboration. I just haven't made the repos themselves public in this time and space. It's not something that can't be done. I just haven't done it. So every author gets to kind of determine their own workflow. Some people probably don't use repositories at all. I recommend repositories. For instance, we can come into Fork, the UI that I use that wraps around Git, and see, these are the changes we've done in the chat logger. This is the main window, nothing. And this is strings. And we can see both the changes that we've made and that we haven't made anything accidental. Awesome. Okay, we can see we've gathered some information here. Let me just bring that over here so that stuff doesn't wrap any more than necessary. Okay, and let's go ahead and pull up our little reference here. All right, quickly launch a red. That's a 2. Wait. Is it over? No, surely it's not. Surely I just forgot to change. Okay. All right, so we have found fireworks type 32. 32 is blue, no. Dazzle the crowd with a firework that isn't blue. Awesome. Always nice to see it working on the first one. We'll let that go 2 more times while I get a glass of water. All right, 16. A bright blue one. Launch it now. We can see 16 is blue, yes. Awesome. So we have the ability to determine exactly which configuration of yes, no for which color based off of the English text in chat. Like I said, really easy to get the German and the French ones as well. Just haven't done it yet. Of course, getting them is one thing. Knowing what they mean is another. Google Translate's pretty good about that kind of text, though. Okay. Another 16. This is not the time for resting. Launch a blue. Very cool. Sometimes you'll get like blue over and over and over. Uh, and that's just a side effect of the fact that while there are a bunch of different texts, there are also a bunch of different ways to get yes blue out of those texts. All right, 64. Send up a yellow. Yellow yes. Awesome. Cool. I feel pretty good. Okay, I don't know if I feel good about this mechanism, but I feel confident that this will produce a result. So now we're in the chat logger. We have a fireworks type. Awesome. We can take out that and then say pass value on to UI. This is probably where we'll pause today, and we'll come back to that because it's entirely possible to put up a test UI version of this that lets us play around with the plugin. Unfortunately, I don't think this is going to get released until next year, but I'm going to have a strong start so that next year I'll be able to release it with some testing, or maybe release it ahead of it. Why not? Actually, that makes me wonder, do I have fireworks skills that would slot in there? Fireworks. No, I might have to buy some. Do I have some? What do I have? Fireworks. I'm just wanting that icon. I don't see that icon anywhere. Okay, so it would be possible to slot in some items to get the effect of launching a fireworks if I wanted to make sure that was working, but that seems like overkill. I'll be able to make the UI overlay here and make the borders of one of the four things, and I'll be able to do that with testing. My goal is to have in the options a debug section where I can say yes red, no red, yes blue, no blue, that kind of thing. And we'll be able to start right after this point. After the validation, we'll pass a value on based on these values in the strings. We'll be able to call that function with 1 to 4 to 16, etc. These values. So that's what is going to allow us to act as if we still had a festival announcer, which would be good even during the festival when it is daytime, because you have half of the game time when that festival announcer is not being helpful. In fact, I'm surprised it's lasted this long. How much longer is night here? We're in Fordon. Awesome. Okay, so that's the next part, is to have a UI. The UI is going to load our shell of this. We're probably going to incorporate the drag bars UI for a quick little dragging around. That's the one where you hit Control / and it presents this same UI. Awesome. So you can put it on top of this UI. And then, the UI will just be able to do the borders. The timer itself, I don't have a sense of how that will look yet. But I imagine it could just be a bar incrementing or decrementing it down here. I'll have to think about that. Okay. Well, we have hit 8 o'clock. We're coming up here on Eurovision Song Contest 2022. Anyone out in the chat there who is interested in that? For us in the Netherlands, that starts, the pre-game, as it were, starts in half an hour. The rest of it starts in an hour, and I got to get some food before then. I do appreciate you all being here. If there's any last-minute things, stick them in the chat there. I'm going to grab a drink of water and make sure I haven't missed anything. Oh, Farathan says, thanks. You are very welcome. Yes, I do plan to be back next week. All right, well, I don't see anything that anyone had to get off their chest into chat there. Thank you so much for joining me. That is everything we're going to cover today. Thanks so much for joining me on this exploration of Lotro plugins and the last-minute anniversary plugin. I do hope to see you next week, and until then, keep plugging along. All right, bye-bye now.